Hello everyone, I'm here to present you with the crazy US comedy concerning the US elections and what's going on. Don't mind about this, focus on the topic. I want to be comfortable. That is why I put right here, because we're about to watch some comedy. It's gonna be crazy, a long ride. Now, it's crazy what we see. Look at this. It's just a look at the page when you open. This is the craziness you see. See? All this. This is the drama more of US elections. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. It's no longer Biden. The thing I'm puzzled so much about is when you look at USA and you look at the current president, really, does USA doesn't have leaders? First, the president, the vice president, now the very vice president is the presidential candidate. People, please. I mean, these two people who are running USA, they are far below in IQ than most African presidents. You can literally get any African president right now, they'll do a better job in USA. They are far better than these two. But it's so amazing how people are blind as though they are bewitched. I can't get it. First of all, they are mocked. You will see the videos. Kamala says she is what? Black. I'll use different terms rather than the word black or white, because I've changed my vocabulary. I don't use these words. So for white, I may use pink or Caucasian. For black, I use brown, because that's exactly the right terms. So Kamala now says she is brown. But you check, when Donald Trump said it first, what happened? It was disaster. The media jumped on it. But they were records that came out. That's why video is good, because it's there as a record. And then they showed her where she said she identified as Indian. So Donald Trump was right. So what's going on? And then we go to pronunciation of her name. They try to make it, pronounce it to sound like a brown woman. My. But look at Obama and the rest of the Democrats. They pronounce it the same way Trump or Vance pronounce it. But they lash at these people because they do not want to pronounce it the way more like it sounds like a brown woman or African American woman. Now, when you look at what the focus of this video is, the trap. I call it a trap for Trump, or Trump trap. CNN interview, the previous one. My dear, listen to me. That one was rigged. CNN is a democratic piece of tool. They are together. They are working together. That is why Kamala refused the other presidential US debates, because she needed those that are on the side of Democrats. She knew if she accepted, she was going to fail like no man's business, because the CNN one, it was rigged. Whenever it has to do with, so even the coming Tuesday, if that organization is rigged and is part of the Democrats, what will happen is easy. Right now she's busy being told what to say. They have given her all the questions and she's studying how to say it. That is why she wanted rules changed by bringing in what? More like a cheat sheet where she can be reading the pre-written answers because it will be rigged. She rejected the other parts, the other debates, because it was gonna be tough. I tell you, even the one that Donald Trump had with Biden was literally fed all those questions. Maybe 2 weeks he was just studying, but the problem is it was useless because of his mind is already gone. That is why it showed this one clip. I'll see if I'll find that clip. Maybe we'll start with that, where he just, when he was talking about medical, he just jumped to the final medical. What? Wait. Where did that come from? You just, more like you just remembered. That's what happened. I wouldn't be surprised if he had an earpiece where someone would be saying all the answers. I mean, they could even do that with Kamala. You know, technology has really gone so wide this time, right? So how hard can that be? It's just that the rules don't say we have to check every candidate, their ears, to see if there is anything that will cause cheating. That's what it's supposed to be, more like an exam. And exactly, you need to hear what the presidential candidate has for the nation, not someone who will be pulling strings. No, well, that's what it's supposed to be. Look at the illegal immigration that is going on. That is importing voters, literally. It's importing voters. So like I said, that all these things are rigged. Look at one thing Trump has to be aware of, that this is a trap. You will see a video of Mike Pence. What happened with the video with Mike Pence? Let's take a look.
He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000
He said
a
he's
year.
going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait.
I'm speaking. Well, to remain calm.
Well, let's get
No, but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to
have to
add,
weigh
but
in
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh in.
speaking.
She's disciplined and she's not afraid of a bully. So there it is. Donald Trump is scared, and I gotta say, I think his whole team is scared. And that's why they're trying to find ways to muzzle him, to make this debate not happen if possible. Because Kamala Harris, she's gonna wipe the floor with Donald Trump.
We do have to sneak in a very quick break. I have many more questions.
All right, guys, so a couple days ago, I did a video about how ABC News had rejected Kamala Harris's demands to rig the debate even more in her favor, okay? She wanted to sit down so that she doesn't look weak and frail next to Trump. She wanted a cheat sheet so that she would be able to remember all the talking points that were given to her by her handlers. And also, she wants live mics. And the reason why she wants live mics is because she desperately wants to get the strong black woman moment that she thought was so great when she did it against Mike Pence.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh
speaking.
in.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait.
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Okay. If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay.
Non-answer.
Trying to answer you
The
now.
American people deserve a straight answer.
I will not sit here and be lectured by the Vice President. I'm speaking. Yeah, I'm about to. I will not be lectured by the Vice President.
Did you see that? She was trying to pretend as if she's a strong woman, cutting him, making him look like she's, I mean, that's disrespect, making him look like he's a nobody. That's what she wants to try with Trump. I'm telling you the truth, it will backfire on her because you can't Trump over Trump. See what I did right there? So that's what will happen. There is nothing that they can do. here is where it becomes a trap. It is a trap because they know that Trump, when he's kind of put in a position of being upset, he will say anything. So they want him to say things that are off. Then the next day, the media, the very demonic media like CNN and the rest of the crowd, even BBC's thrown into there, they'll pick up on the negatives of Trump speaking up or cutting Kamala, and that's a trap. That's what Kamala wants. She wants to more like be disrespectful so that Trump gets fired up and becomes upset. That's what she wants, to push the buttons. So please, if there's anyone who is part of the Trump campaign and hears this video, please tell them exactly the trap, what it is. Do not accept. If they accept and then you see this video after you accepted to have the mics on, please tell them we are reverting back to the original rules. We don't want the mics on, because I'm telling you the truth. Let the mics be on. The trap is done and that's it. It should just be negative news concerning what Trump said, what Trump did, all that. But if you want to stop that from happening, listen to me. Keep the mics off so that she won't have the way she treated Mike Pence. I mean, for me, it's just disrespectful. So that's the trap for Trump. They have to refuse to have the mics on. If they do, well, that's trouble. Like I said, 2020, what happened? They found a way. Digital voting. We heard what happened, that the machines were changing votes. They used COVID as a cover. They avoided contact live voting. Just do it digitally because it's more healthy that way, to avoid the COVID thing that they put up themselves. And check, Mark Zuckerberg did confirm. He wrote a letter. You will also hear about that later. So all that stuff that was happening, it was just planned. People lost jobs. People like me. I lost a 2008 account, Facebook account that I opened, because at that time they were going for accounts that were posting so much stuff concerning elections, US, they talking about political stuff. There was the Russia collusion stuff. So probably they considered my channel as a Russian stuff and shut it down. I tried to have it revived to no avail. Let me show you a login and see what happens. There is the message. Unfortunately, you won't be able to access your account while we are reviewing these documents. We appreciate your patience and we will get back to you as soon as we can. As soon as we can. It's 2019 January. To this day, they're still reviewing the documents that I sent to prove it's me. Do you see that? So that's what you get. Will Facebook apologize to people they closed accounts? Will they give me back my account? Do you know the other reason why? My account was getting about 100 friend requests per week, and I was just busy accepting all of them. I wasn't choosing who is who. It got close to 4.5, and had it gone just maybe 4 or 6 more weeks, it would have reached 5,000, and 5,000 it would have gone beyond. So it means people were liking what they were seeing, and Facebook thought this is a danger to democracy in USA. So they get rid of my account because of the things I was talking about. You see that? So that's just one of the reasons I believe my account got attacked. Now, even Kamala avoiding interviews, Kamala avoiding doing debates, she only agreed to one. I mean, people, please, even the US government, politicians, why are they allowing this? They're supposed to say, the law says you are supposed to have debates. You cannot refuse. Imagine if Donald Trump was the one to refuse all the debates and said, this year there won't be debate. My dear, that would have been the hottest news on planet Earth. But now, since it's their puppet, there's no problem. There's no problem right there. Nothing to see here. Let's keep moving on. And that's what we see right there. We talk about her saying she is brown, right? But how about the videos that said she was Indian? And now she even goes on to change her accent. I mean, I don't know. Brown people in USA, why are you allowing these people to fool you like this? Biden said if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. I don't want to say the word. Let me just leave it right there. And look at this. Where are Democrats using the money? Let me show you a screenshot right here. I can't find the video, but here is the screenshot that I'm looking for. Do you see that? What do you see now? Where are these Democrats using this money? They're using it by ferrying homeless people to rallies and paying influencers, young people who are influencers, to make videos attacking Trump and saying the good things about Kamala and why they are voting and why you should vote. I mean, it sounds like Africa, because that's what happens in Africa. During the period when the elections come, they will be giving food to the poor, t-shirts, giving just free, all those things. They give money, people go and party, make a sit and drink, be merry. They do that during election period. And when that is done, boom, back silence. See you again next elections. I mean, people, tell me something. Why are human beings easily fooled like this? You tell me. Answer this. Go in comments and tell me why you were fooled in 2020. You are being fooled, made fun of by someone changing their accent, someone who said they were Indian changes because of politics and said, no, I am brown, I am African American. That's how I identify. You were fooled once, not once. What did Obama do? Obama even fooled Christians. TBN doing what? Running ads and promoting that, yes, vote for Obama because he's a Christian. And Obama, that's what he said. Guess what happened when he got in government? Started mentioning Allah, quoting the Quran. He changed from I mean, human beings, I don't know. I think human beings can be fools. We can, let me even put myself there. We can be fools. We will support someone because they said they are this, and we go ahead. You people, you know Trump. You saw what he did. What he wants to do is the same thing, make US great. But you are there wanting to listen to fake news, CNN, all these BBC things, all these other that are just, you've seen those clips where they show news medias saying a sentence the same way, every news media saying it the same way. I'll try to find that and I'll play it so that you just get what I'm trying to talk about.
Headley.
Well,
No.
Chris,
To our democracy.
This is great danger to our democracy.
To our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous 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 to our democracy.
that's why I say most of these news medias, they are controlled. Why is it that they hate Trump? He cannot be controlled. He can't. And Trump is a tool in God's hand to push back the wickedness. The Democrats will be a tool, a doorway for the new world government. I'm telling you the truth. Let this woman win. USA, which is a harlot in the scriptures, will indeed now live to its harlotness. That's the video that is coming up after this. In 2 days time, I'm doing a video on this topic, AI, the mark of the beast, and the harlot that is talked about in the scriptures. So there it is, the Russian collusion. Like I said, Mark Zuckerberg said it's the Democrats who were doing what? Who pressured me. There was a video that showed up where it said Trump threatened Mark Zuckerberg that he will throw him in jail because of the things that he does. Remember, he even kicked Trump out of Facebook, but now he was allowed back in. So this guy is trying to save his own skin because Trump was going to skin him into prison. You see that? So let's jump into those videos and see what's going on. It's just so amazing. I mean, when I look at all these, let's just go back. I mean, when I look at just scrolling down and seeing all this concerning the US stuff, it's so crazy that people are easily fooled. If they ask the people that are voting for Kamala, what do you know that she's gonna do? They have no idea. What do you like about her? They have no idea. More like, you know, the way Hollywood makes zombie movies, and then there's one main zombie that when you kill that zombie, the rest, they will lose the control. Most of the movies, that's how they are. You have maybe a queen, it controls. When that queen is getting rid of, the rest, they fall out. I hope I find that movie. I will put it also just a screenshot as I speak. If you don't see the screenshot, then I didn't find that movie. I've forgotten the name. I would have said then you would know it.
I have seen this before.
Oh my God.
The hell are those?
Something new.
This disease, you must contain it.
This is the Master's final solution. We're not the farmers. We're the livestock.
I fear no one. There are thousands of them down there. When the time comes, we're gonna need people like you. Nothing matters more than destroying the Master. What are you waiting for?
So that is what's going on in US. People refusing to see. They are like Jews. Jews have been conditioned to hate Jesus Christ by all means.
Shalom, how you doing? Free about Yeshua, how much? Timino Yeshua, how much? Haver. Why do you have so much hate in your heart? There's so much hatred. Why do you hate?
There is a chapter that is... Because I'm Jewish. Sometimes I wear, sometimes I don't. Here, where's my peyot? No peyot. Sometimes I wear a kippah. When I'm with Jews, sometimes I wear a kippah. Sometimes in Israel I wear a kippah.
When you talk with me,
Yeah.
You was with kippah.
Yeah, but I explain what Christians believe. I asked you about it. But here, God knows. I'm told that everyone knows my face on the internet. Everyone knows my face on the internet. Everyone knows me. There are no secrets. They know I'm a Jew who believes in Yeshua. And the people coming up to me saying hello.
I love your God. He gives you I owe you. Because of you, I got so many grace from your God.
We forgive you. We forgive you. We forgive you. Maybe you are. Maybe you are. You're acting like a Nazi. Come down. Shalom.
The Nazi was like you and like him.
Shalom, sister.
Like you.
God loves you.
Attack Jewish to the world, to the world.
Why are you so mad?
Jesus was a Nazi like
Come
you.
down. Maybe you are.
He was like you.
You are acting like a Nazi. Come down. Yeshua died for your sin. Praise God. Yeshua died for your sin. Even though you're mad like that, Yeshua paid for your sin. Hallelujah.
You are the devil.
Yeshua died for your sin.
You are the devil.
Yeshua died for your sin, sister. Hak Sameach. He paid for your sin. Hak Sameach.
Like him, this is what the Nazi.
No, watch this channel and prove me right when you for yourself. So listen for yourself from this channel. That is exactly what's going on. Some people hate Donald Trump for no reason. Even if you go to an asylum, got an insane person, put them to run for US presidents, they will vote for that person. I promise you they will vote for that. They will literally do that because they hate Trump with everything in them. It's the same thing with Jews that hate Jesus for no reason, because they were told that this one is bad news. Don't have anything. Don't even listen. If someone just mentions that name, don't listen. And that's what they really react to the name of Jesus. When it's mentioned, mention the name Biden or Kamala, who are I don't know, here. They're not there. They like them. And the same people, look at the same people when you ask them, what do you like about, they don't know. I mean, more like the same people who are running for president and the same people who are voting for them are the same mentally. They don't know. Some. There was a video, I think you will see it. One young lady said she didn't know Kamala was vice president. I mean, is this planet Earth or planet Mars? Oh, Mars is not a planet, it's a star. Okay, is this planet Earth really?
What country is the Queen of England from? Originally.
I definitely don't know.
No, give me your best guess. Guess a country.
What is a country again?
Give me a guess.
This is embarrassing. What is a country? What is a country? What is a country? Canada.
Yes. Do you know what time this is?
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. 2:45.
Yes. Do you know what country the Great Wall of China is in?
Country?
Yeah. If you had to guess.
Japanese?
Yes. Do you know what the third month of each year is?
Ain't that leap year or some shit?
Yeah. Do you know what country we gained our independence from?
Spain.
Yeah. Do you know what year the U.S. was founded?
Oh, nah. I'm not going to answer that.
Around when? If you had to guess a year.
I do not know.
Give me your best guess.
I'm going to say BC. I'm going to keep it at BC era.
Give me a number, BC.
Um, 1800s?
BC?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you tell me what time this is?
Okay, I know the long one is the hour.
Yeah.
So that's 10. Oh my God.
10 what? Around what time is this?
I'm not sure.
Give me your best guess.
I want to say 10, 15.
Yes. Do you know how many moons the Earth has? Around how many, if you had to guess?
2?
Yes. Do you know what two countries border the USA?
No.
Like what's on top of us and what's below us?
Isn't the North Pole below us?
Yeah. And what else?
And what is above us? Is it Europe? Because
Is that your guess?
yes, that's my guess.
Yes. What country did we gain our independence from?
We're Canadian.
Russia.
Yes. Can you name 5 states?
Staten Island. States. Damn. Brooklyn. Nah, I don't even know.
4 more states. Any states you want.
New York.
You got 2?
Manhattan. I don't know.
3.
That's
2 more.
State.
Yeah.
Oh.
2 more.
Queens. I don't know if that's a state. I don't know.
4. 1 more.
Let me
Any state.
The Bronx. I don't know.
5. Nice. Do you know how many states are in the USA? Around how many?
$24?
Yes. Do you know what the 4 directions on a compass are?
No, not at all.
Do you know what continents we're on?
You got me feeling dumb.
No. Don't be dumb. Just know. You know this.
Nah.
How many people are on Earth? Around how many, if you had to guess?
I don't know. 200 trillion? Something like that.
Do you know how many continents there are?
No.
Take a guess.
10.
Can you name them? Can you name one? What continent are we on right now?
Oh, come on. United States.
Yes. If you were born 10 years ago, how old would you be today?
11. I'm 21.
If you were born 10 years ago today, you would be 11.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes. No, that's not. 10 years, you'd be 10. If you were born 10 years ago?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No.
If you were born 10 years ago, then you would be 10.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Because I'm 20.
Yeah, okay. What year is it?
What?
What year is it?
21.
Okay, so if you were born in 2011, how old would you be today?
Wow. 2011? 41.
Yes! Do you know who the current vice president is?
No.
Who do you think it is? Take a guess.
I don't know. I'm just waiting for Barack Obama to come back.
I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. Let's look at the rest of the videos.
A member of MSNBC focus group of mixed-race voters attacked Vice President Kamala Harris over her race, but it turns out that Abdul Ali is a GOP congressional candidate and pro-Trump podcaster. Ooh!
Raise your hand if you are a Republican, Democrat, Independent. Does the way that you identify racially impact your politics, or specifically how you plan to vote this election?
Absolutely.
How so?
I'm not going to lend my support behind someone who does not support people who look like me.
I don't think he sees me as who I am.
Former President Donald Trump.
Yes.
And what about the rest of you?
I just don't think that Kamala Harris has anything vested in the air finger quote Black or Hispanic experience in so much as it would be identified by anybody that lives in those communities.
You're saying you don't think that she can help Black or brown people?
No, I mean, going to Howard don't make you Black.
A conversation that quickly turned to this moment in a July interview at the National Association of Black Journalists.
I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
What did you think when you heard those comments?
Highly offensive. I mean, I think probably every multiracial, mixed race, biracial person has had the experience of someone else telling them that they are not something enough. I think it's kind of triggering, right?
I think it is impossible to be biracial in America, and I think that it requires that you're covering all bases at all times, and it requires constant recognition of both identities. And I think when Donald Trump says stuff like that about Kamala Harris and implies that she's like picking a race for political advantage, it's tapping into an incredibly familiar sentiment that I think everyone on this panel can understand.
Marie and Abdul, as Trump supporters, when you heard that comment, as mixed people, how did it register with you?
Well, my first thought was, that wasn't very well thought out. At the same time, though, when I heard it, I didn't hear it as an attack on Blacks or Indians. I heard it more so of him commenting towards identity politics and the appeal that some take to play up one side of their race over the other.
Abdul, I see you nodding your head.
I agreed with him. I didn't know she identified as Black because everything I saw was first South Asian, first Indian. There's none of that identified as Black.
Regardless of her parents, I mean, she was born in this country, and she identifies as a Black person in this country in an American way, in a uniquely American context.
Never heard her identify herself as a Black woman.
She said multiple times she's a Black woman.
What do you guys think about Kamala?
It'll be cool.
She's terrible. If she comes into office, it will be done.
It'll be cool to see a female Black. You know, she's half Black, not fully Black, but it'll be cool to see a Black president,
Western Indian,
female Black president. But I'm definitely voting for Trump.
Let me tell you something. She tries to get the Black vote because if you look at her past things, and maybe 10, 15 years ago, when she's in interviews, she identifies as West Indian.
She does.
The only way that she's identified as African American is right now, because she wants the voters. But she doesn't give a fuck. Because where was she at in these past 4 years if she's vice president? What has she done for us?
She have not
Can
done
you
shit.
say one thing that
I didn't even know she was the vice president.
Can we say what she has done?
Let's go, Trump.
And I am going to stand on Trump, and I'm so sorry if that may ruffle people's feathers, but I have done my own research, and Trump has done a lot for us, more than what the media tries to portray. They're getting all our favorite rappers. They're having Megan Thee Stallion twerk and all of that to gain, because they think that that's going to make us vote for them, and that's not.
And that never got my vote.
And that will never get my vote.
Twerking
and I'm going to stand on that. Twerking
did
and
not
having
get my vote.
Meg Thee Stallion, first off, the
That's
song that she was even saying is very ignorant.
Go around asking people on the streets. I've seen so many of these interviews so far, and you'll see the same thing over and over again. You'll see the same repeated pattern. Are all of those people Republican shills, Trump podcasters who are infiltrating these online interviews? No, they're regular people who have different opinions. Oh, they gave Donald Trump a platform. How unacceptable. We should boycott this news network. The only thing that's acceptable to these people is hardcore left-wing partisan hackery. Anything else is straight up fascism. They want the media to keep doing their frickin' dirty work. They want kid gloves for Kamala, just like we saw in that pathetic CNN interview. I mean, total political kabuki theater. They even had an 18-minute highly edited interview that they aired to the public with a live tag on. Totally unbelievable. I mean, look, there's a live tag in this edited, chopped up piece of video that was played to the public where Dana Bash didn't even challenge Kamala Harris even once. Meanwhile, this is how Dana Bash treated J.D. Vance just a couple weeks prior.
You guys seem to be struggling a little bit. Kamala Harris has been calling the shots, as who? There's no evidence that Kamala Harris threw him overboard, called you and Donald Trump, and that is weird.
Sure.
You're saying Tim Walz doesn't have affection for his wife? I don't even understand that. They have done both. They have both policies, and they are trying to define
Dana,
you. You have been on the campaign trail questioning Tim Walz's military record. Governor Walz served 24 years.
Sure.
He even stayed after he could have retired because of 9/11, more than the country asked of him. Do you honor his service? I will say that the Harris-Walz campaign did say that the governor misspoke. That was a month before the National Guard even announced that it was possible that they would deploy to Iraq, and it ended up being 2 months. He retired 2 months before they actually got the paperwork.
You know, that right there is what the left wants. They want an aggressively biased approach. They want corruption. They want propaganda. They want to stifle dissent. And I'm just going to say it, they don't want minorities to think for themselves.
Kamala's father is Donald Harris. He was born in Jamaica, but immigrated to the US, where he became a professor of economics at Stanford University. According to Professor Harris, the two individuals who had the biggest influence on him during his upbringing in Jamaica were his two grandmothers, known as Miss Crishy and Miss Iris. Miss Crishy owned and operated a dry goods store in Brownstown. The name Brownstown comes from its founder, Hamilton Brown, an Irish slave owner, who, according to Donald, was an ancestor of Crishy Brown. This fact made the rounds last year when several far-right media outlets tried to make Kamala Harris look like a hypocrite by claiming that her Jamaican ancestors were a bunch of slave owners. Here's the thing. Like I mentioned in my video on Berry Gordy, most Black Americans have at least one white male somewhere on their family tree because of the sad fact that during the period of American slavery, slavers often raped females whom they enslaved. But this doesn't change the fact that far more people on their tree were likely on the other side of that equation, as enslaved individuals of African descent. So how these facts are supposed to make Kamala look bad is beyond me. Anyhow, let's now look at the other side of her family. Her mother is Shyamala Gopalan. She was born in Chennai, India, but like Donald, immigrated to the US. The two actually met during their graduate studies at UC Berkeley, and they were both involved in the US civil rights movement. But whereas Donald studied economics, Shyamala studied medicine and became a cancer researcher. As I mentioned in my recent video on the Marathas, India is more of a continent than a country, and therefore there's not really a single ethnicity known as Indian. In Shyamala's case, it would be more accurate to say that her ethnicity was Tamil. This means that ethnically, Kamala is half Tamil. However, according to Kamala herself, she primarily identifies simply as Black, which brings me to the topic of race and ethnicity. Let's look at the term ethnicity first. Generally speaking, ethnicity refers to a people group that lived in a particular region for a long period of time, and thus ended up sharing a common language, history, and culture. Nowadays, DNA testing companies claim to give people an ethnic breakdown of their ancestry, but really what they're doing is just using a set of genetic samples from around the world to estimate the regions that a person's ancestors likely came from. So in this sense, ethnicity has also come to mean regional genetic variation, and thus has at least some sort of basis in science. The important thing to keep in mind, though, is that the total number of ethnic groups existing in the world today numbers in the hundreds, if not thousands. And the exact way in which all the various ethnic groups are divided and named will vary depending on which research team is doing the work. Race, however, is something different. According to most experts today, race is simply a social construct and has no real basis in science. Although people have tried, you cannot scientifically determine race by grading skin tone, by measuring skulls, or by testing blood. The closest thing you can get to race by using genetics is to simply organize ethnic groups by continent. So, for example, we can say that a person has primarily European ancestry, African ancestry, Asian ancestry, etc. But even there, it gets complicated because genetic variation doesn't always match neatly with continental lines. For example, North African DNA is quite distinct from Sub-Saharan African DNA, and South Asian DNA is quite distinct from East Asian DNA. So when we try to match genetic variation with very specific color words like white, black, brown, yellow, red, etc., the science of it all fades away very quickly, and we're mostly just left with social conventions, which sadly tend to be based more on prejudice and stereotypes than on anything scientific. So that's why it is usually said that race is a social construct. Most of the time, a person's race is simply a combination of how that person chooses to define themselves, and perhaps even more so, how society chooses to define them. In America, a person with one black parent and one white parent, like Barack Obama for example, is generally considered to be black. This is because society tends to treat that person as being a member of whichever race is less privileged in that society. Because of this, mixed race people usually end up self-identifying with the less privileged group. In other words, unfortunately, race is often something that is defined by racism and society's tendency to racialize people. This is why we end up with complicated issues such as passing and discussions on whether so-and-so is black enough. So, am I saying that we should be blind to race? Absolutely not. Ignoring race would be ignoring the fact that some people still get treated differently than other people, simply because of social constructs related to skin color. This is particularly important when it comes to African Americans. Long before the advent of DNA tests, people of European descent in the Americas have had the privilege of being able to define their ethnicity in more precise terms. For example, I've long known that my ancestry is primarily a mix of English, German, and Irish. However, because of the long history of American slavery, Black Americans often don't have this privilege. They simply know that their ancestors came from Africa. Therefore, they are stuck with simply identifying as Black. So the bottom line is that race is still an important concept when it comes to understanding history and for making policy decisions today. But don't think that it can be determined simply by looking at a person's family tree or their DNA results. It's just not that simple.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Vice President Kamala Harris and now the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee. and her ancestry. Is she black? Is she Indian? What's going on? Now, the reason why this is a conversation is because people, whoever they may be, the mainstream media, regular normies, they're saying that Kamala Harris has always identified as a black woman. But we have pictures, videos, evidence of all sorts that say that's not the case. At best, she is mixed, black and Indian at best. At worst, she's probably about 75, 80% Indian. Now, first things first, let's get straight to some pictures, okay? You see Kamala on the far left-hand side with the red dot right on the forehead, okay? That's her. This is not a fake picture. This is her. I think that's her sister right there. Her sister, her blood sister, right? Same mom, same dad. And I'm not sure who the youngins are. And then this might be Mama, Paw. With the, you see Mama with the red dot. They have on the garment called a sari. This is typical Indian attire, and they South Indian, like Mindy Kaling, okay? We'll get to Mindy Kaling a little bit later. But you could just say, oh, she's just dressing up, it's just an event. Okay, whatever, that's fine, all right? Now, this is Kamala Harris's mother, and then on the other side, her father. Now, we already saw, we know the mom is straight from the Indian subcontinent. We already know what time it is, okay? 100% Indian. Now, our father might be a little bit of a different story. Some say that he's Irish and Indian. Some say that he's Irish and black. Regardless of what's going on, you know that he's not 100% black, okay? Let's just take a moment. Look at me, right? Look at me in my face. Nobody's gonna say, hey, ABL, are you mixed? Are you some kind of black or Indian? There's no racial ambiguity here, right? Now, when you come to this man, and we're gonna see a couple more pictures, you're like, okay, what's going on? I'm kind of confused. What's happening here? Okay, now here are some more pictures of Kamala's people. I mean, you see what's going on. I think that's a young Kamala, maybe right there on the left. I don't really know. But we see the general thing that's going on. And here is another picture of her parents, a little bit closer. The mom, obviously, clearly Indian. Now the dad, I don't know what's going on. I mean, to me, in my opinion, I'm thinking black and white biracial. So black and white biracial plus Indian, how does it get you a black woman? 25% at best, at the very best, 25% black. So how does that make you black? And if that's what you believe and you identify as black, then why do you say sometimes that you're Indian? Just pick one or say I'm both. If you say you're both and you're biracial, that's totally fine. But when you say you're Indian on Friday and then on Monday you say you're black, I'm just kind of confused. What's going on? Now, we have videos, we got evidence, we had all kind of stuff, okay? But first, let's take a look at the clip that kind of sparked all the controversy. This is Donald Trump at the National Association of Black Journalists event in Chicago, Illinois. And by the way, he was invited, so was Kamala, but only Trump showed up. But Trump's the racist and Kamala's this strong black independent woman, all this, that, and the third. It's kind of weird, but let's watch this. Then we're going to keep on going and see something from Judge Joe Brown, in which he gives more context from his point of view. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Follow up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
Now, before he gets into his answer, Joe Biden himself said, or he responded to those who were asking him, demanding him to select a black vice president. That was the whole thing. Gotta find a black vice president, black vice president. Okay, Kamala, you identify as black. You may appear to be black to some people. You'll do, come on. Same thing with the Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. I'm gonna appoint a black woman to the Supreme Court, and that's what he did. So when we're talking about DEI hire, affirmative action, things of this nature, when the employer says, I'm going to hire you because you're black, what do you call that? I don't really know, but let's let Trump answer the question.
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
Give me
a definition.
Now, DEI is an acronym, diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's what it stands for. But define it. What is it in theory when you are using it in real world and everyday practice? What does that actually mean? That's what he was asking for. All she did was just unfold the acronym, which is not the actual question.
Definition then. Would you give me a definition of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is?
I think somebody should look into that too when you ask, continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
Now, let's pause for a minute. I think she said, and if I'm wrong, y'all correct me, I think she said that first, Kamala always identified as a black woman. Second, that she went to a black college. What does that mean? I don't know if you guys know or if she knows, but you don't have to be black to go to an HBCU. What does HBCU stand for? Let's unfold that acronym. Historically Black Colleges and Universities. Historically, that's all that it means. So, a little bit of lesson for you guys who are not American, you may not know, you might be a young person. Back in the day, in this country, we had legal segregation. Blacks over here, whites over here. As a black person, you could not go to white schools for the most part. So we had black schools, and these have been around for 100 years, 150 years. Like the 1800s, it started, and they're still here. So if you have 100 years of all black students, and then integration comes along, segregation is over with, do you just all of a sudden become some kind of diverse utopia? 30% black, 30% white, 30% Hispanic, 10% other? No, you're going to pretty much stay where you've been. And the same thing goes for what we call PWIs. To unfold that, that's predominantly white institutions. You do have some colleges that are 95, 90, 100% almost white. Same thing as black. That's just the nature of this country. But you don't have to be black to go to a mostly black school or white to go to a mostly white school, okay? But let's continue. We have more here. Now we have Judge Joe Brown laying down the hammer. This is part of a larger interview, and shout out to the Art of the Dialogue. Y'all go check them out for the full thing. But let's go ahead and roll this.
And then she was everybody's favorite Hindu Indian prosecutor and attorney general and senator, and now she becomes black. But, you know, I met her daddy, fine gentleman, Professor Harris. And the problem with her being black is Professor Harris says he's Caucasian, mixed Irish and Hindu. He doesn't have any black ancestors, but his Irish ancestors owned a lot of slaves in Jamaica and had them to work on plantation. So if mama is on the birth certificate listed as a Caucasian, daddy says he's a Caucasian Hindu and has no black ancestors, how did she get to be black?
That's a great question. That's a great question. If what he's saying is true, it's a great question. And even if what I thought that he's 50% black, 50% white, even if that's the case, how do you get 50% black, 50% white, 100% Indian and result in the black woman? How does that make any sense? At best, biracial. You can say you're both, that's fine. You can say that you're multiracial, that's fine. But then again, if you pick one day and the other day, I'm kind of confused.
And by the way, she told one big lie when she was talking about she got bust because of something Biden did when she was running against him. Well, the yearbook that she put out there that you can still get online from her high school in Canada shows she went from kindergarten through 12th grade in Canada, never went to school in the United States of America. She was born, by the way, in the same hospital that my ex-wife was born in, the same 12-month period, and my late mother-in-law was in fact a pediatric nurse in that hospital when Kamala was born. And the birth certificate that she has is interesting because the confusion comes from a mistake. On the birth certificate, it lists the mother's race as Caucasian, national origin India, and religion Hindu. For the father, it does not list national origin. It does not list religion. It does not list anything about that, but where it says race, they put national origin in, Jamaica, by mistake.
Now, if you don't want to take Joe Brown's word for it, if you don't want to take my word for it, if you don't want to take Trump's word for it, how about let's hear from Kamala herself?
Okay, so what we're gonna cook today is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because you are Indian.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know that everybody knows that, but I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the supermarket, on the street, everyone's like, you know Kamala Harris is Indian, right? It's like the thing we're so excited about to have you running for president. So we're both Indian, but actually we're both South Indian.
Yes. You look like the entire one half of my family.
Okay, thank you.
You do.
I've been telling people
You
we're
do.
related already,
Yeah.
so this is perfect. It's basically true.
So you heard right there, she says, you look like the entire one half of my family. So to make it be known that I'm Indian, and again, that's fine. But when you're right here, Mindy Kaling, talking about I'm Indian, and then when you go among the blacks, you go to Atlanta and say I'm black, I don't understand what's really going on. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to Kamala. You're biracial, and that's totally fine. You're multiracial, that's totally fine. But I say, let's just be clear about that. Just be clear about that. Because the whole thing, you're playing on the race thing. I'm a black woman, I'm this, I'm that. And then people are talking about it as well. The lady from the NABJ told a straight up lie talking about she always identified as a black woman. But then the first lady said that she's black and Asian, so it's just kind of confusing. Whatever you are, just be that, rather than sending mixed messages and confusing signals that are difficult to decipher. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on Kamala Harris's ancestry? Does it matter? Does it not matter? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I don't really care that much about what nationality someone is. Okay, it's not really that big of a deal, but what I don't like is the lying and the gaslighting and acting like she didn't say what she said. When Trump said that she always identified as Indian and they're trying to call him a racist, how can they do that when there's video evidence of her saying that she's Indian, where there's documentation? And that's not the only video. She's been saying it over and over again. I'm going to be the first Indian American senator. I'm going to be the first Indian American this. But then when it comes time to become the vice president, when they need a black woman to fill that role, all of a sudden, now I'm black. So I don't like that dipping in and out of your ancestry. I can't do that, okay? I have an Irish great-great-grandpappy too, 100% straight up white man. But what am I gonna do? Go in some room and say, you know what, I'm a white guy? Well, okay, ABO, you're a white guy, whatever. I'm black and that's it. Whatever I identify as is whatever I identify as all the time. I'm not gonna just pick and choose whenever it's politically expedient. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I gotta say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
Former U.S. President Donald Trump launched a scathing attack on Vice President Kamala Harris, questioning her racial identity, asking whether she was either black or belonged to Indian heritage. Trump falsely claimed that the Vice President had not emphasized her Asian American heritage while downplaying her black heritage. Now, Trump's response has drawn condemnation from Kamala Harris, who is of Indian and Jamaican heritage, calling it, quote-unquote, the same old show of divisiveness and disrespect. But Kamala Harris's identity still remains a big talking point and also her biggest asset.
Brazen propaganda. Remember when Harris stole Trump's tax policy on tips?
Because when I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips.
for service and hospitality workers.
Now, not only did most of the media not slam the vice president for that blatant thievery of a Trump policy announced months earlier, but look at how they reported the story in their headlines. Here is CBS when Trump announced that policy. They said the policy would cost the government $250 billion over 10 years, according to a nonpartisan watch group. But this is how CBS reported that same policy after Kamala announced it as her own. Vice President Kamala Harris is rolling out a new policy position saying she'll fight to end taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. Can you spot the subtle difference there? Yes, it's one thing to express opinions on opinion programs like this, but there is something rotten in the media when so-called journalists who are supposed to present the news and only the news, stripped of their own personal views and biases, indulge in the type of Orwellian gaslighting and lies we've just seen. It's no wonder that trust in the media has plummeted to new lows.
The first black female president. Let's get this done, hotties. Hotties for Harris. Hi.
I'm Megan. Why was you on that stage twerking? Oh no, I love Meg. That's my girl, and I'ma always stand on business when it comes to her. Girl, you was on that presidential stage twerking. Girl, you know we cannot be acting like that in front of the auntie.
Now, Kamala Harris, I just watched your little halftime show. Your little, halftime show with Megan Thee Stallion. I know you call it a rally, but I beg to differ. In 2024, this is how the presidential candidates get black votes, because they think we need ratchet, bougie, classic. I love me some Megan Thee Stallion, don't get me wrong, but I think I'd rather look at Megan at her concerts, listen to her in my ear, or watch like on TikTok or something like that. I don't know if this was the right approach.
So instead of Kamala Harris giving us policy to benefit black people, she gave us shaking Megan Thee Stallion. That is what she thinks black people deserves.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Look at this. Somebody come and look at this. Look at this.
See, 4 years ago, they gave y'all Cardi B at the height of her song WAP. Wet ASSPUS. This year, they're coming with Megan Thee Stallion. Black women, if y'all don't sit y'all silly asses down looking all stupid.
Why the hell was Megan Thee Stallion twerking at Kamala Harris' presidential speech? It is a time and a place for that, honey. I could have went to a concert to see that. And Kamala, it's too much serious stuff going on right now in the world for you to be playing like that. Why did you think that was cool? Why did you think that was funny? Anybody that's running for president right now is serious right now in this world.
And please give it up for Quavo and Megan.
You run to Atlanta when you need a few dollars. No, you're not a colleague. You're a colonizer.
She really disrespected black women by coming to Atlanta for a check balance and turning her campaign rally into Magic City. Of course, you have her supporters, the Boule, like Jamel Hill and friends. They're going to take up for this Indian woman no matter what. But other black women are not condoning popping thought pockets for votes.
Why they got Megan Thee Stallion and the potential president-elect rallying at an event in Atlanta, Georgia? See, they keep running the same old play, y'all. They suck your energy dry, lower your frequency and vibration, and then pull the rug up from under you. And then when you land on your ass, they wondering how you got there. You asking for help, they like, oh, no, I can't help you. They keep doing the same old thing. Y'all got all of these washed up people coming to this event trying to gauge votes and attention from people, when really y'all need to be connecting with the people and not trying to use celebrities as a way to gauge people for votes.
These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns.
The game is getting tired and old. Then y'all trying to blame Trump for the migrant issue when you've been in office for 4 years and you could have done something about it, but you haven't done anything. Even the people that you working around been trying to get you to do something and you haven't done nothing. You even said out your mouth you ain't done nothing. So now all of a sudden, if you become the president, you gonna change it? No, I doubt it, because you had 4 years to try to work on change and you didn't. So at this point, Y'all need to stop coming with the tired game. Y'all keep problem, action, solution. Y'all create problems, and then y'all come up with solutions when y'all are the problem.
Okay, just in case you did not know it, on yesterday, Kamala Harris had a rally in Atlanta, and it gave you like, oh, Atlanta's hype for her. Like, people are so excited for her. I know you felt it. I know you saw it. She even brought out ratchet Megan Thee Stallion, shaking her butt, twerking for a political rally, talking about hotties for Harris.
The first black female president. Let's get this done, hotties. Hotties for Harris.
That did not turn your stomach. Like, that is pandering, like, if you've ever heard it. But that's not the catch 'em. Do not let that rally looking fool you, because Fulton County has been doing this for years. Before the rallies, they get busloads and they go pick up the homeless people. They offer them food, drink, and a little change to come to the rally, so the rallies will look full. Now, you got to realize she just dealt with the rally, and I want to say it was Pennsylvania, where it was less than 60 people. It was quite embarrassing for her. And so that's not going to go down in this blackity black city. Okay. It's just not going to go down. They are absolutely going to make sure that thing looks packed out. So I want you to know, that's why you only saw certain angles as well. But I want you to know, people aren't for her like that. That's why they're having to pick up homeless people. That being said, I'm gonna give her this. She's not the only one. It is a very Fulton County, Atlanta thing. You can see it before all of the Democratic rallies. You can see it. Now, I've never seen them pick up people and pay them to vote Democratic, but it's been said for years that they literally will go pick up homeless people on the days of the election and pay them to vote. They need the money, so they do it, because what poor and desperate is what they're banking on. I haven't seen that, but I have absolutely, and I saw yesterday them picking up the homeless people to come to the rally. So do not be fooled. They'll tell you it's a lie. I'm telling you. This right here, 1000% the truth.
The fact that Kamala Harris put Quavo and Meg Thee Stallion on stage yesterday at her rally is mind-boggling to me, right? In my opinion, it really shows what she feel and think about the black community. Of all people, Michelle Obama wasn't available. Condoleezza Rice wasn't available. Someone who's actually a good role model that young children could look up to, but that's neither here nor there, right? Instead of putting her on stage to twerk, you could have put her on stage to speak about gun reform. You could have actually used Quavo to do the same thing, but instead you chose to take another direction. I don't know what that was about. Now, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And if we just fell for that, then that literally just set us back thousands of years, not hundreds, all right? And if that's literally all it takes to get your vote, then that says a lot about us, the black community. Because here's the thing, we still haven't heard any policies. We still haven't heard anything about bills. Is the girl going to say anything about reparations? That's neither here nor there, right? I can guarantee you, though, that the elders was probably embarrassed and a little disgusted. I can guarantee you that the ancestors was upset, too. That's probably why we had that major storm in Atlanta last night. See, here's the deal, people. This is not your actual high school debate or your high school popular person, right? This is real life. We need somebody that can be in office that will stand on 10 if we need them to, if we were to have to go to war. We need somebody that can stand on business if we go into another pandemic or something of that nature. We need somebody who can actually sit at the table with these world leaders, right, and work things out and negotiate to the point things don't have to get real, if you understand where I'm coming from. But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to go ahead and end here because I know y'all don't want to hear my opinion, especially because it's not a popular opinion. But if that's what the election is coming to, then we should probably stop while we're ahead.
I'm just wondering when the black community going to realize the Democratic Party does not take us seriously. Or more so, they don't think that we're smart. Their strategy for decades has been hiring black entertainers to endorse them. Fast forward 2024, they're still doing the same thing. It is even worse. Because now they sprinkling a little bit of ratchetness into it for relatability. And I'm just like, last election, Joe Biden's campaign for the black vote was telling black people that they not black if they don't vote for him. And getting some strippers to twerk with the word vote wrote on their booty. And also, for some odd reason, hiring Cardi B to endorse him, even though Cardi B's not black, but she was used to get the black vote. Not her own people vote, but our vote. Now we got Kamala Harris throwing a rally and Megan Thee Stallion is performing. Megan Thee Stallion is twerking. And y'all swear to God, this is to reach the black youth and get the black. Listen, these people don't take us seriously. They are not twerking and dancing and partying to get anybody else's vote. They are discussing policies, new laws, bills, resolutions for their community. They don't do that for us though.
So I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm gonna do something that's only gonna benefit black people. No.
Kamala Harris literally got in office and told y'all that she's not gonna push nothing for black people just because she's black. That should have let y'all know right then and there. They only want the black vote for numbers so that they can get elected, but they ain't got nothing for black people. And no, this is not an endorsement for Trump or the right or Republican Party. This is simply a critique to Democrats to be more serious when engaging with black American voters. We are not a monolith. We're not all ignorant. We're not all party heads. And matter of fact, there's a time and place for all of this. We can party and we can get serious about policies and laws to protect us. You do not have to dumb yourself down to engage with black Americans. And bless Megan Thee Stallion's heart. Because while I know it was a big thing for her to perform, it just made her look like a puppet to me. She shouldn't have showed up as Megan Thee Stallion. She should have been Megan Pete. She should have had a speech. She shouldn't have been doing TikTok dances. Like, I don't know, y'all. I'm just so annoyed. Nobody takes her seriously. And Malcolm X himself clocked his teeth years ago.
Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrity.
She has used us for years. You notice how she only dated brothers to get her career accelerated and to climb to the top of that public service, air quotes, ladder. You know who they are. I don't need to go over it. But when she got what she needed, she went to Doug Emhoff, who is white.
What message do y'all think they was trying to send by having Meg perform at Kamala Harris rally in Atlanta? Like, I've seen a bunch of videos already from black women who are so defensive. Y'all so defensive. Y'all so emotional. And they know that. They know that. Y'all defensive to other black women who just like, why? We don't get the correlation. We don't see why you would have Meg at this rally. And mind you, I'm a Meg fan. I am a Meg fan. But I didn't see the correlation. I looked at the crowd, and if you look at the people that's behind Meg while she's performing, they're confused. They're confused. I want us to stop being so emotional and really start using logic. Like, because in my opinion, that is exactly how they see us. They think all we need is some music, some booty shaking, and some lyrics that we can recite, and that's gonna get us moving. That's gonna get us to the polls. That's gonna sway us. That's why they do like that. That is all they think of us. They don't see where we are gonna use any logic, where we're gonna do any research, where we're gonna come with any demands. All they see is put what's popular in front of them.
Shout out to all of those ladies. Clearly, all black women are not capping for Kamala the cosplaying chameleon. There are black women who see through this. And let me tell you, Kamala and Meg Thee Stallion, they have some things in common. One being the sitting vice president and the political leader of the 304 agenda. The other being the entertainment leader of the 304 agenda. These folks are spreading nothing but degeneracy to the black community. I've been saying for the longest, a city girl isn't just Carisha and JT. It's easy to come for the perceived ratchet. But what about the city girl in the boardroom in high positions? Yeah, like Tiffany Teflon Tahoe.
Whatever, I do what I want.
Or even the first Indian vice president. Meg Thee Stallion, she's got the case out in California where Tory Lanez was locked up, even though it was allegedly her own friend who used that weapon. a state where Kamala Harris got a black man on death row with false evidence. They had to force her to release the evidence for that man to receive justice. I'm talking about a rogue prosecutor that spent years railroading black men and even sabotaging black women, targeting them, trying to put them in jail over truancy. Those women would drop their kids off at school and their rebellious child would leave. Kamala would go to their homes to intimidate and try to arrest those women, black women. And after years of being presented in California as the first Indian American woman for all those positions, she's been cosplaying as a black woman since she hit the national stage and lined black women up at her campaign rally to encourage them to vote for her as the first city girl president. Dancing, singing, and fish fries is what black voters have to look forward to. No policies, no agenda, nothing for us. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Let me know what you think about these women speaking out.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Trista and let's get into this. I had a lot of opinions about Trump, and there was this one particular time where Trump mentioned Jesus Christ, and I shared it. At the time I had a blog, and I shared that video on my blog.
Masks, no masks, everything, you can do all you want, but you know, you still need help from the boss. We need help from the boss. That's what happened. We need help. Yeah, we need help. It's all right to say it. Now, they'll criticize me for that. How dare he say that? How dare he say that? No, I'll say it. I'll say it. I'll say it. Somebody said to me the other day, "You're the most famous person in the world by far." I said, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." They said, "Yes, you are." I said, "No." They said, "Who's more famous?" I said, "Jesus Christ." I'm not taking any chances. I'm not going to have an argument. Hey, I'm not having any arguments. Jesus Christ. I'm not going to take any chances. I'll give it, I guarantee.
Page at the time, and when I stated that, wow, we have a president that mentioned Jesus Christ or accepted Jesus Christ, which is an awesome thing. Like anybody or any Christian would be happy about that. I got so much backlash from that, where people stopped following me. I had people tell me that Donald Trump was racist and he was this and that, and so many allegations against him. And I thought, well, maybe these people know a lot more than I did when it came to Donald Trump, because I was hearing that in the news, but I wasn't too much into politics at the time. I was just hearing things here and there when it came to Donald Trump. So in the year 2018, my family and I were living in North Carolina. So we lived in North Carolina for about 2016 to 2022. And in 2018, Florence hit North Carolina, and it was very bad. It destroyed a lot of houses, and during that storm, and it was very expensive to repair the church that I was a part of came together, neighbors, and and get everybody situated. And that's when we heard that Donald Trump was actually coming to the church that I was attending. And so when he came, we had like destroyed during the storm, and so we had a lot of meals and people going out and helping people's homes and different things like that. And so I was actually embarrassed, okay? I was embarrassed that Donald Trump came to the area, and I was actually talking to a friend, and we were talking about it, and we were just like, I don't know if I should, share a president coming over to see how my town is and help. Do you understand the type of thinking that entails? Like, what type of thinking is that? I'm embarrassed. But I'm embarrassed that the president came to my town to help out and see what he can do to help the town that was hit by a storm. I was embarrassed to share that on social media, okay? Now, I was embarrassed because, again, it was the allegations that were at the time that were being talked about Donald Trump, a storm hit our town, and our town just had so much damage that the president came down to see how he can help rebuild our town. And so again, I did not have a president that was that involved that closely with me. And so again, you know, I'm sharing this story because, again, I was not into politics at the time as much as I am now. I'm still learning about some things and how things work and what is being said about both parties, about both candidates. And so, again, I'm not like a professional or, you know, theologian when it comes to politics. But again, I'm still, you know, peeling back different layers when it comes to Donald Trump, when it comes to Joe Biden, or even any other candidate. And so again, I'm still learning, but I just want to showcase that, just excited that the president went to my hometown. I was actually born in New York and was raised in the Bronx specifically, and to just see that he was, you know, just there and, you know, encouraging, and just seeing so many different types of people there, that, you know, he is really making a difference. He really is for the people. And you don't hear that from any other president. You don't hear that from Obama. You didn't hear that from Joe Biden, but you hear that about Donald Trump, and he actually is for the people.
In past elections?
No, I voted for Biden, but I regret it.
He resembles my personal point of view. New York on the he's a Christian. Myself, I'm a Christian too. So I think he's the closest to my point of view.
Biden went on the Charlemagne the God show and said, "You ain't black if you don't vote for him." Understand something.
And that was just one of the things that I wanted to point out, that me personally, my experience, and really just talk about Donald Trump, and really just, I really encourage you to do your due diligence and actually see exactly who is doing what they say that they're going to do as a candidate.
As a black woman in America, I know I might get my black card revoked. I love Trump.
God bless you.
I love him.
God
Just
bless
so you know.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black,
I love Trump.
and you ain't black,
I love Trump.
and you ain't black. As a black Trump supporter, what makes you say that your blackness should be revoked?
Oh, well, you know, our people, you know, supposedly speaking, he's a racist. He believes in grabbing women by the you know, they have a lot of things that they say, especially the media. I mean, if you're talking about fake news and things like that, but the facts are the facts. The man has done bankruptcy 10 times. He's come back from that, and he's able to run our country. So I really do believe in him, and I do believe in his message. I really do. I like Trump. I love you, Trump.
And
I don't know. People lie, the numbers don't.
Right.
Trump has the numbers.
I love to hear
He
that.
did pretty good during his presidency.
So you don't mind my hat?
No, I don't mind at all.
So, because I mean, I did wear my hat when I approached you.
Yeah.
Did you see it when I approached you? You notice it?
I don't.
And now that you see it, like, what are your thoughts? What comes to mind?
It still didn't change me. It's just a hat, and that's something you believe in. I support you.
Thank you so much. Would you vote for him if he comes back in 2024 against Biden?
Yes, I will.
So you are obviously a person of color like we are.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to not be Trump supporters. So what is it about Trump
You know what? I'm going to tell you something right now. I was talking to my husband about it earlier. And when I really started educating myself and informing myself on Donald Trump, one thing that I'm passionate about is human trafficking, that especially of children. And when I really started digging into it, I saw that Trump also is a huge supporter. He donated recently $35 million to support human trafficked survivors. Yep. And he also signed legislation very recently to help people that are being trafficked. And that really struck a chord with my heart. And so when I started really looking into him, I'm about action, I'm not about words, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I like the fact that he says what's on his mind. I like the fact that he doesn't say what he thinks people want to hear from him. And to me, I know everything that he's done for the Black community, and I stand behind him.
Beautiful.
100%. I'm not only a Trump supporter, I am a Trump lover. And for the longest time, I've been afraid to come out and say that.
Well, here we go.
I didn't want to lose my blackness or my black friends or whatever. But
Remember what Joe Biden said, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black.
So if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Idiot.
Unfortunately, as much as I'm not a Trump supporter, he was doing what he was supposed to be doing at the time that he was in office, and if it was for him, we probably would be getting more than just 20,000. He lives up to what he said. Biden, on the other hand, he's slacking a bit.
So in other words, Trump promises made, promises kept. Biden promises made, promises broken.
Unfortunately.
Trump or Biden?
The one thing I can say about him, he really is good on military. Because I'm military.
Yeah.
I'm pro-military, so I do fuck with that. But he's
And he's anti-war too. Yeah. He's pro-peace.
into how many wars now? Now we're gonna go into war. I'm gonna be honest.
You do?
He did a lot for us, like the stimulus check.
So you were just put up a front before.
Yeah,
You were doing what you were supposed to do.
I was doing what I was supposed to do.
Yeah. Because there's your groceries. That's about all he did. There's a belief that black people have to vote for Democrats, otherwise they ain't black.
I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Then you ain't black. Then you ain't black.
That's what Biden said.
I'm black.
I'm talking about her.
No, but
Are you half?
Yeah, I'm half.
When you were telling me that the media is the biggest issue, my gut was telling me that you're a Trump girl. Was I right?
You're right. Yeah.
So you're a Trump supporter.
I am.
What's your ethnic background? I'm just curious.
According to what I know, I never did know. What is it called?
It says Trio 23. Yeah.
I never did that. But for what I know, I'm Native American, Ramapo tribe, African American,
Wow.
and Puerto Rican.
So what kind of feedback do you get about your supporting of Trump? Do you get a lot of negative?
I'm supposed to be a Democrat.
Right.
I'm supposed to be a Trump supporter, so forth. You know, I have my own beliefs on why I agree with the Republican side more than the Democrat side. You know, but that's just my opinion.
And do your friends or family ever give you like pushback for that?
My grandmother calls Trump my friend.
Really?
She says, your friend Trump. And I'm like, Grandma, why is that my friend? I don't know him. That's your friend. My grandma.
But don't you wish Trump was your friend?
That would be kind of neat. I'm not.
Am I right? He probably like you because you're fancy.
Oh, thank you.
And the last question to wrap things up.
Yeah.
You're a black woman.
Oh, am I? I didn't know.
I'm a Mexican man. What would you, because I get a lot of feedback, but pushback because I'm Mexican immigrant. I got here legally though. What do you say to the black community that, and why do you support Donald? Like, what would you say to that as a black woman who supports Trump?
I support Trump because I support policy. You know, I was watching a show today with Charlemagne and Stephen A. Smith. They had an interview, and Stephen says that he won't vote for Donald Trump, not because of the policies, but he just doesn't like his personality. And I'm like, that's not a reason to not vote for somebody. If you like the policies, if it's good for you, if it's good for your pocketbook, if it's good for your money, if it's good for your house and your community, what the hell is a personality has to do with it? So like Trump said, what the hell do you have to lose?
I love to hear it. Thank you so much. What's your name?
Amanya.
Nice to meet you.
The Conservative Poet. I got a channel.
Oh, you got one, the Conservative Poet.
That's me.
Shout it out. How do we find you?
Conservative Poet on YouTube.
I grew up in a conservative household. I'm from New York originally, but we're here, of course, in Florida.
What part of New York?
I'm Queens. Jamaica, Queens.
Forest Hills.
133rd Street.
Nice.
Trump is just like, he's a man. He's a man. He makes the money. He knows how to call the shot.
He's a real man.
He's a real man. Trump is a real man. Trump is the man.
Great.
I was raised right. 2-parent household.
Are you a Trump girl?
Yeah.
All right, so if you could describe 2021 in one word, what would it be?
Joe Biden.
Who are you voting for this upcoming election?
Trump. Like, no way. There's no way. Yeah, nobody else.
And what would you say to a black person that says Trump is racist and therefore you are white adjacent?
I would say that they need to actually pay attention to what he's talking about and understand that if you actually want to become successful as far as money in this country, Democrats are not who you want to vote for, because obviously they're replacing you with illegals.
Right.
They're telling you to your face they're replacing you with illegals. So I don't understand how you can still say, oh, Democrats are da-da-da. No, they are literally replacing you. They're giving them housing in New York. They're giving them housing everywhere else here. They're giving them $10,000 gift cards.
Yep.
But when you need aid, the state says, sorry, you make too much money. You're over the threshold by $500 a year.
Yep.
And we're not going to help you. So if you starve, you starve. We don't care. So I don't understand how you pay taxes, but they don't. But, you're not getting help, and you're going to still vote for somebody who's going to give your taxes to somebody else.
You get a free Trump hat today. Yeah. Why do you like Trump?
Smart man.
You want him back?
We didn't know that. Yo.
We need him back, don't we?
Well, yeah.
Are you going to vote for him next election? God bless you. That's right. God bless you. Give us turn too. Free Trump flag. That's right. God bless. What'd you say?
I love that man.
Who's that man?
Trump.
You love Trump?
I love him.
You're gonna vote for him? God bless you. We have an election coming up in a year and a half, less. It's good. It's looking like Trump versus Biden once again.
Oh, okay.
It's looking like it's going to be that way.
Okay.
So as of right now, if the election were to happen, who do you think you'd be leaning towards?
Trump.
Really? You said that with so much confidence.
Because Biden don't know what he's doing.
Did you vote?
He's making our world not great again.
Would you date a guy that supports Trump, and would you date a girl that supports Trump?
No.
I mean,
Wow.
what?
So you're a little more minded about it.
I mean, that's.
She might be a Trump supporter, bro. She might be. But first of all, you voted for Joe Biden.
I voted for Joe Biden, but you know what? He's f***ing up. I don't know how, but all the black communities tell me, and I think I want Trump in office.
Really?
The yellow man. I mean, the orange man. Next year, I will vote for Trump.
2024, you mean?
2024.
God bless Trump.
God bless Trump.
When did you guys put that sign up?
You think when you put it up?
Yeah.
I think like 2 years ago. I think we put it up 2 years ago.
You didn't have that up when Trump was president, right? So that's probably Joe Biden's fault, right? It's Bidenomics.
Trump is all about the money, the business.
Yeah, business.
Bringing money to the America, and that's what we need. America is something, and Trump is.
Yeah. America first.
Comments or suggestions, let's talk about it in the comments. And I just want to say that I'm really loving the conversation that we're having in the comment section, because you guys really come with a lot of, suggestions and comments and questions, and I'm just loving it. So thank you guys so much, and let's continue the conversation in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tune into my next video.
Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, and here is Harris County Judge and an incoherent lefty losing it. Her name is Lena Hidalgo. And here she demands that no one politicizes the murder of a 12-year-old Texan child allegedly tortured and murdered by illegal immigrants. And she makes this demand while blaming Donald Trump for Biden's border crisis. Astonishing.
Me, it hurts even more that they're being used as pawns in this fight over immigration that doesn't even exist because Biden and McConnell agree. It's just that Trump won't let him move it forward.
All due respect, Judge, you said this issue shouldn't be politicized, but by pointing the finger at former President Trump and Republicans in Congress, aren't you politicizing it?
I think I answered the question. So, yeah, I mean, this is about Jocelyn. This is about her family, and if we want to,
Judge,
as I said, talk about immigration.
You didn't answer the question. Are you politicizing this by pointing the finger at Republicans and saying it's their fault, not the fault of the Biden administration that lifted the Remain in Mexico policies?
Again, the Biden administration reached an agreement with Leader McConnell to address this, but this is not about immigration. I'm not going to feed into that.
That woman who can barely string a sentence together without contradicting herself and looking like a confused simpleton is the head of the governing body that oversees Harris County with a budget of over $4 billion. Now to a mother who claims to be a victim of lefties losing it on United Airlines. She was left stranded in San Francisco with her 16-month-old because she apparently misgendered a non-binary flight attendant.
Okay, so we were denied boarding, myself, my 16-month-old son, my mother. They took our luggage on the plane, which has my thyroid medication, which I'll be very sick without, my mother's medication. They basically said tough luck. And they won't tell me exactly what I said, but what happened, and I will tell you what happened right now. I was speaking to one of the flight attendants, got their pronouns wrong. The other flight attendant didn't like it. I said, I'm really sorry. I'm not very versed with pronouns. I was holding my son. He was having a temper tantrum. I had the car seat on my back. I wasn't really focusing on anything except getting my son's car seat on the flight and getting him comfortable and safe, and him, because now it's his nap time. You can see he's kind of fallen asleep. They're saying that it's a hate crime that I did, that I might not even be able to ever fly United. We don't even know how we're going to get back today.
Now, this is exciting, folks. Only happens about once a decade, but we've got footage of Jon Stewart actually being funny. He's at his best when he challenges the dominant media orthodoxy, and that's precisely what he did here, taking on lefties, losing it in the mainstream media over a disturbing image that is too violent and dehumanising to show on television.
In our editorial discussions this morning, we were asked not to show the image from this video because of its violent and disturbing nature.
Video, which we are intentionally choosing not to show you.
We're not going to show because of how disturbing it is.
I was extremely disturbed to see this.
Horrible, horrible, violent imagery.
Violent and dehumanizing imagery.
We're only going to show you a clip of this briefly.
All right, that's enough. Let's take it down.
See it at all. This has got to be devastating. News channels show images from Ukraine, from Gaza, from natural disasters. They get through them dispassionately. I can't imagine how devastating this footage must be.
Former President Donald Trump shared a video, this one, on his Truth Social account featuring an image of President Joe Biden hogtied on the back of a pickup truck.
That's what was so disturbing and dehumanizing. You wouldn't show it on television, and an airbrushed Biden decal on the back of a truck. Aren't you the same networks that show reruns of 9/11 every year?
Yep, just earlier this month, much of the media in the US had an absolute meltdown about an obviously doctored image, a meme basically on the back of a pickup truck. Can't imagine why people have lost trust in the media. Even Jon Stewart has lost faith.
It's a doctored image, but it's plastered on the tailgate of the pickup truck. So if you're driving behind it, it would appear as if Joe Biden were actually restrained on the vehicle's flatbed.
If you think that's really Joe Biden tied up on the back of the pickup truck, I don't know that you have the mental acuity to be operating a motor vehicle.
Now, let's, with the help of AI, look at how CNN would love to conduct the presidential debate.
I'd like to set the ground rules to this debate. First off, Biden is allowed to speak whenever he wishes. We will have commercial breaks whenever Biden feels the urge so that his needs can be taken care of. This may or may not include naps, energy boosts, or a snack such as ice cream. On the other hand, Trump is not allowed to speak unless spoken to, and if he interrupts Joe speaking, we're automatically going to deduct 10 points from Trump and Dore. As the hall moderator of this debate, I can call it off at any moment and declare it a complete victory for Biden. Where did Trump go? He was just here.
You're watching the Rita Pani Show, and now it's time for Lefties Losing It. Let's start, Lefties, with this almighty group meltdown on CNN because Nancy Mace allegedly mispronounced Queen Kamala's name. Watch this demented carry-on.
And right. Kamala Harris, if
Kamala, you said this. We don't call you Nancy. It's Kamala. You're doing this on purpose, Congresswoman. Disrespectful. You can't expect people to respect
if a man put on a skirt and walked that stage 25 years ago, she would have said it. She would have taken that achievement away from women. That's
Let me get in here because I want to.
Did you hear that? He said, you're a white woman disrespecting a black woman. Why? by calling her the name everyone has called her for years, decades. How long was she in public life before we were told that her name should be pronounced differently? And can someone alert the president, because he's still pronouncing it this way?
Kamala are here today to make a major announcement on their efforts to lower.
But back to the mass meltdown on CNN. Look at the reprehensible way they treat a lone conservative woman, a woman who carries the trauma of being a rape victim and who showed far more grace than I'd be capable of facing this barrage of lunacy.
When you disrespect Kamala Harris by saying you will call her whatever you want, I know you don't intend it to be that way. That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of black people.
Oh, so now you're calling me racist.
I didn't say. I just said you weren't a racist.
That is complete.
No, you don't have to intend racism to
No. You are intending that
your disrespect of Kamala Harris is part and parcel of a tradition of disrespect.
It's offensive,
Congresswoman. Why can't you just?
I'm not calling you a racist. I'm saying what the practice is racist.
You are. You absolutely are.
No, what's disgusting is your disrespect of her.
Professor, she doesn't know what a woman is, and if 25 years ago,
white women don't have the ability to tell black women who paid the price of blood to make this country what it is to tell them they're not real women.
25
years ago, they care for your babies.
Just hysteria and hyperbole there. There's much more of that lefty losing it madness, but I won't subject you to it because this next bit is even better. Remember Don Lemon? Before CNN sacked him, he's back doing vox pops and being laughed at by the good folk in Jersey and Atlantic City. First, he tries to shame Trump backers by suggesting they're sexist.
Who do you support?
I plead the fifth. Trump for the win.
Tell me why.
I can't really call that right now, but I just feel like she's not good for president. She's good vice, but not for the actual lead role for the country.
Does it have anything to do with being a woman?
No. No, because I feel like women, nah, you're not gonna give me that.
Your money's on Harris?
Yeah.
Who do you want?
Trump.
Why don't you like Harris?
She doesn't have any experience.
She's the vice president. She's a senator.
Yeah, no experience. No.
It doesn't get any better when Don talks to women.
Well, I want Donald Trump. I just feel we need somebody that has a stronger background with the military and the world in general.
She was a prosecutor and an attorney general and a senator and a vice president.
Is it there to learn what voters think or to lecture them about why Harris is better? This next interaction is frankly bonkers.
4 years ago, it was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy is actually better under Biden. No, I'm serious. That's what the facts show.
Okay, you know what?
No.
Imagine telling a grown man he's wrong about being better off 4 years ago because Don's figures say so. No wonder they laughed in his face. That sort of form will see Don Lemon elevated to the Lefty Losing It Hall of Fame. And here's one last clip from his time in New Jersey.
Trump or Harris?
Trump.
That's who's going to win.
That's who's going to win.
Who you support?
I support Trump. All the people that came to this country legally, it's not fair that they're letting all 10,000 to 15,000 people or 20,000 people here illegally. Did you know Biden was flying them in? Did you know Biden was flying them in?
I got to get out of Atlantic City. Where are we going to next?
Now watch this totally authentic interaction between Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. They won't do any interviews, but they will provide content like this. Here, Tim worries that his white guy tacos, his words, not mine, he worries that his white guy tacos won't be spicy enough for Kamala.
Like I have white guy tacos and
what is
like
that,
black,
like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know?
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
I'm trying to expand
We'll
my food knowledge.
Oh dear. Now here is the real Kamala in the days before every word was carefully scripted. Now I've heard her say some crazy things, but surely she would never snatch a patent.
I will snatch their patent so that we will take over. And yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. It's the question is, do you have the will to do it? I have the will to do it.
She's got the will, people. Watch out. How very communist of her. Now, back to CNN, and yes, they are among the Democrats' most enthusiastic propaganda outlets. Here they are telling the American people to forget about the high prices, the illegal immigration crisis, crime. Just feel the joy. There's so much joy.
Brian, go ahead. I think Trump world's jealous of the joy right now. There's so much anger coming from Trump's speeches. Joy is real and it's important. People can make fun of it and say focus on the policy. But if you ask political scientists and psychology professors, they'll tell you the emotions matter in politics. Sometimes they matter a lot more than the policies. And that's, I think, the big story this week.
Yes, Brian. If you ask political scientists and psychology professors, they'll tell you emotions matter. The Nazis knew that too. They love the joy message. Theirs was strength through joy. And their propaganda arms were just as enthusiastic about gaslighting the nation. And talking about gaslighting the nation, here is our own national broadcaster, the taxpayer-funded outlet that receives more than $1 billion of Australian taxpayer money every single year. And just watch and marvel at this completely fair, balanced, and not at all hysterical rant from one of the ABC's highest paid journalists.
But Donald Trump poisoned American politics in a new way. He's clearly taken America to a dark place. Do you also hold him responsible for the dark place that he took your family to with the terrible attack on your husband in your home?
Yep, that was Sarah Ferguson last week interviewing former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. The Trump derangement syndrome remains off the charts of the ABC, and Ferguson and her overpaid, underworked team seem to have learnt nothing from their previous failures. Remember the three-part series we were treated to on the Trump-Russian collusion hoax? Yeah, they've learnt nothing.
All right, let's now take a look at developments from the world of technology. Tech mogul Elon Musk has accused Google of interfering in the 2024 US elections. Musk has warned the tech giant, saying, and I'm quoting him here, the company will face a lot of trouble if they interfere with the election.
On his social media platform X, Musk posted a screenshot of a Google search as evidence for the alleged election interference. In the post, a search for President Donald can be seen, bringing up results such as President Donald Duck and President Donald Reagan, but not Donald Trump. Now, according to Moody's ratings report, data center capacity in
tech giants have been called out by prominent figures for seemingly censoring Donald Trump's search results, opting to instead push Kamala Harris content. Sky News All-Stars Shari Markson, Rita Panahi and Kosha Garda investigate the phenomenon and reveal what's really going on. A wave of criticism is being directed at tech giants Meta, Google and Snapchat for a bizarre trend that Trump supporters have noticed. Elon Musk, owner of X, called out Google after sharing a search of the keyword Trump rally, and instead of being shown news results about Donald Trump, was shown results about Kamala Harris's rally instead. And again, Elon Musk slammed Google for election interference after discovering a search ban on Donald Trump. Other online commentators have backed up Elon Musk's claims, with this user asking, why is it that when you Google Donald Trump, you get news about Kamala Harris, but when you Google Kamala Harris, you don't get news about Donald Trump? Billionaire Grant Cardone added more evidence of Google suppressing Donald Trump searches, saying Google suppressing searches on Trump assassination, it's like it didn't happen. Google also suppressing polls you see showing Harris winning, or even CIA's Google suppressed Trump search. There are more choices when you search my name, Grant Cardone. Sky News All-Stars Shari Markson and Kosha Garda agree, saying the search results are ominous for the role of big tech in the upcoming election.
Google, as in the search engine, is censoring results for the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. And instead, we're seeing that Google is suggesting recommended search results for Ronald Reagan, Hitler, Bob Marley, anything you can think of, but not Donald Trump. I actually tested this out today, and anyone at home can do it as well. Go to Google, type in attempted assassination on, and Even when you start writing D-O-N-A-L-D, Donald Trump does not come up. Kosha, I think this is ominous for the role of big tech in the upcoming US election.
100%. I tested it out as well, and it doesn't even stop with Google. I also tried it in ChatGPT, and it comes out and says that there are no credible reports from credible sources that he, in fact, had an attempted assassination. That's outrageous.
Wow.
I think it really brings to point this issue with big tech, where Google is 85% of the search industry, and Bing is the other 15%. There, by the way, it works. They're not doing this. So you've got so much power in this one company that has so much of market power as well as information control power. You layer on AI with the ChatGPT example, it's only going to get worse. But for a few flashpoints, you've got X, you've got some media outlets, you've got independent media that's sort of making this known. But it is really, really ominous, and it's just another version of what we saw in the last election with the Hunter Biden laptop suppression or this suppression. And you're seeing it in real time. And unfortunately, a lot of people who get their news from just these platforms and aren't as literate about going out and finding other sources will be, unfortunately, their opinions are shaped, or erasure is happening right before our eyes.
I mean, it's interesting that the left is so worried about disinformation, as we all are, but the left makes it a campaign platform. They've tried to have disinformation commissioners, and yet on ChatGPT, no credible information that there was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
Australian LNP Senator James McGrath agrees, saying it's good that people like Elon Musk exist to call out the tech companies, or else they would get away with a lot more.
Now let's have a look at this story. We discussed this last night, that Google is censoring search results for Donald Trump's assassination attempt, and then overnight, Google has now responded to this. A spokesman for the tech giant said that Google's systems, and I warn you, this is a bit of gobbledygook, they said that protections against autocomplete predictions associated with political violence, which were working as intended prior to this horrific event, and they say they're working on improvements to ensure our systems are more up to date. James, this is nonsense. I mean, you type in attempted assassination of, and there's no Donald Trump that comes up, all these other people come up, and even when you type in D-O-N-A-L-D, still doesn't come up. You wouldn't be so suspicious, except that the tech giants do have a history of censoring stories that are firmly in the public interest. James McGrath.
They are censoring stories, whether it is deliberately or it's through some algorithms or whatever it is, because we do know that the big tech companies have traditionally lent to the left. And what we're seeing, not just with Google, but Facebook also censored that famous picture of Donald Trump with the security guard, with security guards around him and the flag in the background. They censored that. So it is a bit of a wake-up call, and it's good that we've got Elon Musk coming out, someone who was formerly of the left and is coming out now to help call out these big tech companies. Because the danger is, if they're prepared to censor Donald Trump, what else are they prepared to censor? And what don't we know? This is the issue. What don't we know that is being censored?
Shari Markson then added a possible reason for the suppression of information.
And Elon Musk tweeted, or I don't know what his new word is for X, but anyway, he tweeted saying probably just a coincidence that Google employees were the top donors to Biden. So an accusation there that this is politically motivated, Gary.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think even the response from Google you've read was actually generated by artificial intelligence, because it is, without a doubt, give me a response to keep Shari Markson happy, and they've sort of come up with something. So, but artificial intelligence is better than absolutely no intelligence, the often not talked about ANI. But look, Shari, in the end, we've got to do our research. Pick up a book, read papers, read a range of stuff. Don't just simply ask Google to separate the facts from the fiction. And the problem is that a whole generation of people just now are just so used to trusting what comes through their device. I mean, Wikipedia has been a classic example, in my view, that school kids, I think, should be marked down for using Wikipedia as their only source, because you can just make stuff up. You can do whatever you like there. So, get a range of views. But Thank God for Elon Musk, because he is now the arbiter of all fairness in the broad economic reality of the social media space.
There are
indeed
a
you
whole
are,
lot
Shari, as
of,
well.
thank you. Always enjoy a compliment. But there are other problems on the platform X, no question. But we don't have time for that now. Gary Hart.
And as the tech giants are being called out, they're coming up with excuses, reveals Sky News All-Star Rita Panahi.
Now, Meta's fact checkers are claiming that an iconic image now of Trump after his near assassination is an altered photo. You all remember this image where he got up, put his fist up, said fight. Absolutely outrageous, but not surprising. Now we've got a Facebook representative who has admitted this was a mistake and apologised, but the so-called fact checks on Meta, that's both Facebook and Instagram, are highly partisan and always, Daniel, in the one direction.
Spot on. They're not apologising because they got it wrong. They're apologising because they got caught out.
And Google is doing the same thing, dismissing their censorship of Trump's assassination attempt, saying it was an innocent mistake. It's not just the big players Meta and Google censoring Donald Trump. Even Snapchat AI won't entertain a Trump search. The questionable behaviour by tech giants has propelled US Senator Roger Marshall to launch an investigation, saying, "I am launching a full investigation into Google's censorship and bias that is constricting the free flow of information. Google, the largest search engine operator in the world, has become a propaganda wing of the left. No more hiding behind your algorithm. Your time is up."
So I wanted to touch on one other thing that's kind of making some national headlines. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has said he now regrets caving to some White House pressure to censor voices related to the COVID-19 pandemic and most notably the Hunter Biden laptop story. How do you react to that kind of change of face from him?
Well, I think a lot of us had frustration and expectations that the Biden and Harris administration was putting their thumb on free speech. And now we're seeing that our concerns were well-founded. The fact that Mark Zuckerberg now has disclosed that the Biden-Harris administration essentially bullied them into taking information down is very troubling. And I'm glad now that all that transparency is coming out and that we're seeing the true extent of the interference that the Biden-Harris administration engaged in.
Well, and I think some of the criticism that we're seeing from this kind of change of face, if you will, from Zuckerberg is that, I mean, he's a very powerful man. He's very wealthy. He could have pushed back, at the time. I think some people are saying maybe now it's maybe a little bit more business convenient to kind of do that. I mean, do you truly believe that he means what he's saying, or is that he just doing it because he doesn't want to lose, conservative voices on the platform?
Well, I think a lot of this push came from the House Republicans asking the question. What was the involvement? What was the role of the Biden administration when it came to censorship? And now I think those questions are being asked, and now the honesty is finally coming out.
And so the last thing kind of on this is, so Politico reported yesterday that Donald Trump said in a book that's set to come out that Zuckerberg would, quote, spend the rest of his life in prison if he did that again. Related to this kind of potential censorship on social media platforms. Do you think Zuckerberg and other social media heads at the time should be punished for what they did? And if so, do you think that they should go as far as what Trump is suggesting?
Well, I think that we got to get more answers. I think when you're seeing what's happening on now the X is now kind of been unshackled, and Elon is allowing more free speech. You look at now the disclosure by Mark Zuckerberg of the extent that the Biden-Harris administration went to censor. I think that's part of the effort right now is to actually how extensive was it? How extensive was this push to censor differing views? And so I think that for us right now, it's like let's get the details, let's get the facts, and let's everyone be honest.
Well, couldn't we also argue potentially that we kind of do have some of the details? I mean, there was, at least from my understanding, there was a whole congressional panel kind of investigating this, and here we are. So is there the ability to get more answers, and what does Congress's role play in that?
Well, I think that's why we're having these hearings. Jim Jordan, when you look at what's happening with Congressman Comer and those panels being pushing, I mean, if they weren't investigating, would we have these answers? The House Republicans were criticized extensively, saying that somehow all this information didn't really happen. And now that we're getting all this information, everyone's saying, oh, we believe them all the time. The House Republicans were right. Well, if we roll back the tape a little bit, I think a lot of folks questioned whether it actually happened. And now, moving forward, we now see the truth. The truth is that the Biden-Harris administration bullied platforms to censor information that they did not agree with, and that has a chilling effect that we need to be very concerned about.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Murcia with Eyewitness News Bakersfield Now on YouTube. Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel where we have tons of great content to choose from. While you're here, go ahead and click on the subscribe button right there. That way you can stay up to date on all the things related within Kern County. Thanks for watching.
A new controversy unfolding this morning, and it involves a war of words between a tech titan and the White House.
Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg claiming that he was pressured by the White House to censor content related to the COVID-19 pandemic. A White House official releasing a statement in response to the claims, not completely denying them, instead standing by its position at the time. A lot to talk about. ABC's Aaron Katersky joining us here now. So what exactly is all of this about?
This is about a broader conversation between big tech and government about social media content and how it should be policed. And for a long time, Facebook has faced criticism that it was silencing voices that went against the medical orthodoxy, especially about the origin of the COVID-19 virus. And Mark Zuckerberg is effectively conceding now that that criticism may have something to it. In a statement, he says, "I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it," effectively saying that he did bow to pressure from the Biden administration to silence criticism or silence these theories that the virus was somehow man-made. "I feel strongly," Zuckerberg's statement continues, "that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction, and we're ready to push back if something like this happens again." Now, the White House said in its own statement to ABC News this morning that its position has been clear and consistent. "We believe tech companies and other private actors should take into account the effects their actions have on the American people while making independent choices about the information that they present." And this is not just about COVID-19. This involves the Hunter Biden laptop controversy. This involves donations that Mark Zuckerberg's wife made during the 2020 election. Zuckerberg says he believes that Meta should now be neutral, so he's going to pull back donations, and he says he's changed some policies and practices to make sure that he does not bow to pressure in any political direction.
I mean, it's so interesting that they're not monitored the way we were. Our industry 20 years ago was very much what social media is now. We were under strict controls in the news business in a way that social media just isn't.
It isn't. And in fact, social media companies say that it's not really up to them to invade on anybody's free speech. But implicit in Zuckerberg's statement is that they have the power to police their content. They know what's being said, and they have the power to take it back if it violates their protocols, and they have the power to let it go unvarnished.
That's a lot of power.
It is a ton of power, and there's a debate whether it needs to be regulated.
Well, and especially when a lot of this conversation is being driven by the House Judiciary Committee Chairman, Jim Jordan, who has been very outspoken about conservative voices, in his view, being silenced online. We're 70 days out to the election. What is the level of concern, not only from the government standpoint, Congress as well, but also these tech companies themselves, that what people are viewing and seeing and having access to as we head into a very important election may not be accurate?
There's a lot of concern that what people are viewing is not accurate. The influence of AI, the influence of the social media companies' political views themselves. Facebook here says it wants to be neutral, but neutral in and of itself is its own problem. So the best advice that people have is to make sure you give a little scrutiny to what you're seeing on your feed, and realize that it may not necessarily be exactly what it claims to be.
What does this say about the power and influence that big tech has on this country? I mean, we're talking about free speech here, but how much free speech should be allowed? I mean, is there some kind of policing that needs to be in place?
And Shirley, that was President Biden's point during the pandemic, that he said that misinformation about the pandemic was literally killing people.
Right.
And that's why he
There's
wanted
statistics behind that.
And that proved that at the time.
That's right, and that's why he said social media companies had a responsibility. Conservative critics like Jim Jordan said that there should have been more of a discussion about masking, about the origin of the COVID-19 pandemic, about all those criticisms that we've heard, and that social media didn't allow for it. On the political side, social media has a lot of power, but they also they get zapped by the Russians, by the Chinese, by the Iranians who want to sow disinformation, and how much of that is on the shoulders of the social media companies.
Because I think part of the conversation, we're wrapping up because I know we have some other stories to get to, but I think
it's such a good conversation.
But the conversation is that, you know, Facebook and X and all of these other platforms are just that. They're platforms, whereas ABC News is an organization with people vetting information, sending it out through different sourcing. Facebook is an opportunity for anyone who has an account to get on and spread information. So there is a market difference
there for sure.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Meta, has finally admitted what many of us suspected all along. Senior Biden administration officials pressured him repeatedly to censor COVID-19 information posted on Facebook and Instagram. Do you remember? You couldn't discuss vaccine efficacy, masks, or ivermectin effectiveness in combating the virus. If you shared opinions counter the government narrative, you risk banishment from social media. I recently talked with legal scholar GW law professor Jonathan Turley. He writes about Facebook censorship in his latest book, The Indispensable Right, Free Speech in an Age of Rage. I asked him if he thought the Biden administration pressure was illegal. He believes it was unconstitutional.
Plays a critical role in what is an unprecedented alliance we have in this anti-free speech movement today of the government, corporations, the media, and academia. But Facebook was the big dog on the block. And for years, Zuckerberg and Facebook and Meta opposed efforts to release files on censorship. So Elon Musk has been attacked unrelentingly after he released the Twitter files that showed this massive censorship system. But Facebook fought it.
Zuckerberg also said he regretted suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story, admitting that reporting on it was not Russian disinformation. 2 years ago, one poll showed 79% of American adults believed media censorship of the laptop story changed the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. Despite Zuckerberg's admissions, Facebook is still censoring conservative content. The latest victims are actor Dennis Quaid and the promoters of the new President Reagan movie. Facebook said it incorrectly rejected a handful of Reagan movie ads. But after that admission, the social media giant again rejected Reagan movie clips. Quaid, who portrays Ronald Reagan in the movie, said he was baffled by the Facebook response.
It was banned, and they haven't even seen the film. So it seems like they don't want other people to see the film either, I guess. Yeah. But, you know, we'll set up a screening for them anytime, and you can see for themselves. Yeah, the movie is about America in the 80s and Ronald Reagan, his life, and it's about fighting communism.
I guess a movie about Ronald Reagan is just too political for Facebook in an election year. Zuckerberg and his minions don't want you to see how a conservative president signed the biggest tax cut in U.S. history and took steps to bring down communism in the USSR and Eastern Europe. Folks, Ronald Reagan's successes aren't political. They're historic lessons that we must learn from and remember. In his farewell address to the nation in 1989, long before Facebook, President Reagan said freedom, including freedom of speech, is special and rare. It's fragile and needs protection. Folks, our nation cannot remain free if our speech is blocked and censored just because social media monitors disagree with what is said. Congress must do more to demand accountability from big tech companies like Facebook and government officials who pressure them for political advantage. American freedom begins with the First Amendment. If we fail to protect it, all our other freedoms will quickly fade away. Well, that's it today from the Global Lane. Until next time, be blessed.
Well, Mark Zuckerberg has just shocked the entire world with his letter that he wrote to Jim Jordan, our man from Ohio, about how the Biden administration back in 2020 pressured him and his companies, aka Facebook and Instagram, to censor and suppress content. Gee, what a shock. It almost feels like, call me crazy, but it almost feels like, you know, all of us quote-unquote conspiracy theorists were actually right. And probably the main target and animus of these woke mafia media leftists, Donald Trump was right about everything too. I'm going to read this entire letter. It's only 2 pages long. Go through it, and then I can't wait. I'm going to give you my assessment, my analysis, and then I'm going to share with you a clip that's going to bring a huge smile to your face at the end. Oh, it's so beautiful. I can't wait for you to see this. Please stick around. I promise you, it's not clickbait. You will not be disappointed. But let's read this letter together. I'll give you my analysis, and then I'll throw it off to you. Okay, so it starts off, I appreciate Chairman Jordan. I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation on online platforms. As you are aware, Meta has produced thousands of documents as part of your investigation, made a dozen employees available for transcribed interviews. So yada, yada, yada. Let's get to the good stuff. There's a lot of talk right now how the U.S. government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our position. Our platforms are for everyone. We're about promoting speech. Interesting how he doesn't use the modifier free. And helping people connect in a safe and secure way. As part of this, we regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns around public disclosure, discourse, and public safety. In 2021, this is the big one right here. These are the real incriminating paragraphs here. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take content down, and we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make today. Like I said to our teams at the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction. And we're ready to push back if something like this happens again. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, aka the Hunter laptop story, we sent that story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. We've changed our policies and processes to make sure this doesn't happen again. For instance, we no longer temporarily demote things in the US while waiting for fact checkers. Apart from content moderation, I want to address the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. The idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they needed to help people vote safely during a global pandemic. I made these contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. They were designed to be nonpartisan, spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analyses I've seen showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other. My goal is to be neutral and not play a role one way or another, or to even appear to be playing a role, so I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. Respectfully, Mark Zuckerberg, founder, chairman, and CEO Meta Platforms. He also CC's farthest thing from honorable Gerald Nadler ranking member. I can't wait to hear your comments. Let me know what you think after the kind of initial read through of that.
Wow. Charlie Kirk calls out John Piper concerning his views about Donald Trump. Check it out.
So that's different. So my statement was the following. You cannot say you believe in biblical principles and vote for the principles of the Democrat Party. They're incongruent. They do not fit. And that's not what I'll address John Piper. No, I know you agree. So I'm going to address the John Piper thing because I disagree with what he said. But my position is this. If you're a born-again Christian, by the fruit you will know them. And if the fruit is that I will cast my ballot for a party that had Gretchen Whitmer and Gavin Newsom and Eric Adams and Joe Biden spend more wording and video time on Easter Sunday talking about trans rights than the resurrection of our Lord and Savior, that supports the massacring of children via trans and also abortion, that you cannot be a Christian and vote for that. Now, John Piper did not say he was voting Democrat, so he doesn't even fall into what I'm talking about. So let's talk about John Piper. What John Piper is saying is that I believe abortion is wrong, okay? I believe that the transing of kids is wrong. I believe all this sort of stuff, but I think Donald Trump is this unrepentant sinner. And I would say, Mr. Piper, what do you have to do with the story of Samson? Should he be in the Hall of Faith in Hebrews? According to our own scriptures, it says that Samson is in the righteous Hall of Faith. If you know the story about Samson, he's sort of similar to Trump, the hair. God came to Samson while he was in the bed with a prostitute. Samson took the jaw of a donkey and killed 400 Philistines. He wasn't exactly your perfect mold, but God used him for a purpose. And I would ask John Piper, can God use broken, sinful vessels for his purpose? He used King Cyrus to bring God's chosen people after the first exile for the reconstruction of the Second Temple. And the question for John Piper, he says, I remain baffled. Well, you should remain baffled, Mr. Piper, because the people that are Trump supporters that are Christians, they know Donald Trump's faults. They could recite them back to you, just like they know their own faults. But he also has virtues. And I never hear the virtues ever articulated from people like John Piper. What are the virtues? He's awfully courageous. Would you keep on fighting if you're facing 700 years in federal prison time and your family's business empire is at risk of being taken from you? Would you keep on running for office and keep on fighting if everything you've done is in front of you? I don't know if I would. Secondly, his love of country, I think, is unparalleled, unprecedented. Finally, he was conflating a policy agenda with personality. He says a president is not only personality or policy, but it's also personality. But policy is far more important than personality. I'll prove it to you. If you turn off your TV and you tune out of all the media, will you still be impacted by the president? Yes, by his policy. And so the question for John Piper is, you're watching way too much mainstream media. You're being infected way too much about a man that I don't think you even know, but can you acknowledge that Donald Trump delivered 3 Supreme Court justices and gave us the overturn of Roe versus Wade? If we voted the way that John Piper wanted, or let's just say embrace that belief system in 2016, we would have had Hillary Clinton as president, and we never would have repealed Roe versus Wade. The embassy would not have been moved to Jerusalem. We wouldn't have had peace in the Middle East. I could go on. I think we proved that the first Trump presidency, flawed man, excellent policy, fulfilling his promises. I don't think any Trump supporter is necessarily in disagreement with what I would have said. I'm baffled by John Piper, an alleged humble, fervent, dedicated Bible teacher that can be indifferent to 1 million abortions a year, 100,000 kids on hormone blockers, a wide open border, the destruction of Western society, race hatred, defunding the police, rising crime, the downfall of Minneapolis, his hometown, and him preaching about Donald Trump's personality.
Now, remember the time Trump said that he's never been called weird. What happened 2 days later? They started calling him and Vance weird. He said it that he's never been. Had he not said it, things would have been quiet. Now the part which shows that this is too childish, and I don't know, that's why I say that I don't know US people the way and what they believe. You can't see the childishness that is going on, but you keep supporting these people. How can you sit and watch CNN? It's a democratic tool to just dumb people down, and people are accepting to be dumbed down, and they indeed become just that. So now I will play a video and see how dumb people took the bait of Trump saying he's never been called weird, and guess what they did? They jumped on that. Next thing, I hope I'll find the video where he talked about what he's going to do, like saying there will be no tax on the tips. That is what happened days later. Kamala says the same thing, that no tax on tips. I mean, people, please, it clearly shows that you are copying. Trump says he's never been called weird. 2 days later you start saying he's weird. Let's look at the foolishness and the childishness that I'm talking about right here. Listen.
His running mate are saying, let's just be weird.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are.
As weird and creepy as J.D. Vance. Super weird idea from J.D. Vance.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's quite weird. Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
That stuff is weird. They come across weird, and then they start being weird. Yeah, they're weird.
Being a really weird.
He's such a weirdo.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate are weird. Deeply and profoundly weird. They are weird.
These Republicans just being weird, it's just weird. It's really weird.
Republican weirdness goes even deeper.
He said a lot of things that are weird, a weird style that he brings, weird policies.
Let's start with the weird thing, because it is a thing.
Just plain weird.
What was weird was talking about Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew?
You ever seen the guy laugh? That seems very weird to me, that an adult can go through 6.5 years of being in the public eye. If he has laughed, it's at someone, not with someone.
And Elon Musk made a bold statement by sitting in on Prime Minister of Israel Benjamin Netanyahu's addressing Congress last week, whilst VP Kamala Harris was MIA, reveals Sky News senior political reporter Trudy McIntosh.
Headley. Well, that's
No.
this. Where's dangerous to our democracy.
Dangerous to our democracy.
It's extremely dangerous to our democracy.
It's extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is 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 extremely dangerous to our democracy.
See that? Did you hear that? I mean, childish behavior. I mean, they are not even ashamed of themselves. MSNBC, all these CNN, like I said, they are all a tool for Democrats. They lack no shame, and people don't even see it that this is shameful. You keep supporting these people. Man, this is just a whiplash that I don't know. What is this? What is this really? I don't know. Did you hear what's going on in these videos? Now, I want to show you one last thing, and this is another trap that people shouldn't be carried away. Look at this. They are comparing Trump rallies versus Kamala rallies. Look at what she did right there. She covered off that part because these seats were empty. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. And most of these people, there is the video, you will see it, hear it for yourself. They ferry homeless people, buy them clothes, take them to the rallies so that they can fill up, because they were receiving backlash that there are no people at Kamala Harris rallies. So what do? They started doing that. And then you compare with Trump. Now, this does not mean votes. These very homeless people they are feeding, giving money and food, the foreigners they are bringing in, those are the voters.
As a reminder, you will not need to show your ID to vote. A federal judge blocked our state's law requiring you to show your ID. Another reminder, we'll use paper ballots to vote tomorrow. State lawmakers required all electronic voting machines to be phased out last September.
Because they are being bribed with that big chunk of money they are raising.
Perhaps you've noticed our social media feeds are now a battleground in the race for the White House. And in this space, Democrats have deployed influencers to win over voters online. In tonight's Eye on America, Jolene Kent reveals their sophisticated and expensive tactics.
Look at the volume in this hair.
23-year-old Awasane made a name for herself dispensing beauty tips on TikTok.
I just peed in the White House.
So when she posted this video of her White House bathroom break, her 500,000 followers took notice.
I was just shocked. I was like, did you guys see that marble?
Sane, who met us in Houston, was one of a few dozen influencers invited to the White House to watch the State of the Union and meet President Biden.
He said to us, the collective presence in this room has more viewership on Gen Z than all of traditional media combined. So here's my birth control vlog.
It was this viral video she posted after the fall of Roe v. Wade.
Over the United States in my uterus?
That initially caught the attention of a Democratic super PAC. On the right, Turning Point USA has mobilized influencers for years, raising nearly $200 million since 2020.
You realize they're coming for you guys next.
Now, Democratic organizations are flooding the creator community with cash and providing behind-the-scenes access.
Come with me to meet the President of the United States.
We just have to be working with them, and if we're not, we're missing a huge way that voters are getting information about the world.
Rob Flaherty runs digital strategy, previously in the Biden White House and now for the Harris campaign.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
He called the highly memeable Harris a massive asset as the campaign reaches out to thousands of influencers.
What kind of coaching do you give influencers acting on behalf of the Harris campaign?
Talking points, resources, base language.
While Flaherty says the Harris campaign does not pay influencers directly, CBS News found a constellation of other Democratic political organizations that do. In May, Future Forward, the super PAC supporting Harris, hosted panels like Gaming the Algorithm and how advocacy can benefit your business.
In the first 100 days of a Republican presidency under Trump, Project 2025 talks about sacking thousands of civil servants.
Last month, Sane says she was hired by Protect Our Care, a progressive advocacy group that relies on anonymous donors. She made a video warning about Trump's second-term agenda.
They almost help you script it, right?
Right, definitely.
She takes their talking points and puts them into her own voice, saying she always discloses when she's being paid.
What's your rate?
So a video just for a creator in my size, an average can go from $3,000 to $10,000 depending and upwards.
This is a bid by campaigns to create authenticity at a small scale.
University of Pittsburgh's Sam Woolley studies political influencers.
How can you tell what is a genuine grassroots expression of political opinion versus what's being paid for?
If you see multiple influencers spreading the same exact message, you can start to realize, some kind of coordination is going on.
Next up for Sane, the Democratic National Convention.
They just told us that if we wanted to put on our own show, that they would give us all the resources to do that.
The Democrats are rolling out the red carpet.
Definitely, and I'm glad to be on it.
The beauty influencer now applying her own filter to this presidential campaign. For Eye on America, Jolene Kent, Houston.
Just the other day, I received an email for a paid promotion, for me to make a video and post it on TikTok talking about the Democratic side. Just know, they might have been paid to say the things they're saying. My entire For You page right now is presidential stuff and the campaigns being AI and what to believe and what not to believe. Just the other day, I received an email for a paid promotion, for me to make a video and post it on TikTok talking about the Democratic side. At the end of this email, it says, if you want to get things going, we'll send over an NDA for you to sign and we'll get started. I know a lot of people get their views and their opinions and their beliefs based off of what their favorite influencers are saying. Just know, they might have been paid to say the things they're saying.
Denver is going to give homeless people $1,000 a month. But there's a catch. In order to get the money, you have to be a homeless woman, or you have to be a transgender, or a homeless guy who doesn't identify as a man or a woman. You know, like they identify as a wolf or something. So straight homeless men don't get any cash. Not even gay homeless men. I bet you're going to see a lot of homeless guys coming out of the closet as bi. You see what they're doing here? They're discriminating against homeless men, picking winners and losers from a group of people who've already lost. This isn't right. And we already know this isn't going to end well. Never does. Here's what's going to happen. Democrats will throw billions of your dollars at homelessness. Grifters from nonprofits are going to steal it. Democrats will feel compassionate, and the homeless crisis won't improve. The same thing's happening with the environment. We're pouring billions of dollars into green stuff. A very select few will get rich. Democrats will feel virtuous, but the temperature's not going to change. Are you catching on yet?
Just like in Africa, that's the tactics they do. Give them food, they will vote. Now, here is the danger. Look what happened in 2020. People laughed about this, that Biden was locked in the basement so that this pettiness doesn't continue. And they said, compare with Trump, look at that. What happened? This pitifulness won. And all these big rallies like that, what happened? Look at even this, look at that. They're just in cars, a few people, but here they are not in cars, they are really packed. But this one wins. One who campaign That is why it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Take a look at Anna. This one won, and this one lost. That's exactly what's going on right here. Don't be fooled by this. They did all things they could and managed to steal the elections. This year they would do anything. One thing I suspect, let's hope there is no World War III before November. Because they know, and of course that's their law. That's how it would say. They would just say, no, we are in a process of war. We cannot start doing elections. So they will just trigger a World War III and continue with the same government. And then say, oh, after the war, that's when we can talk about elections. People, they can do anything. But anything they are doing right now, they will use the homeless to vote for them. The foreigners, illegal immigrants that are pouring in, they are allowing to pour in to vote for them. Because right now, probably illegal immigrants should have reached maybe even 30,000 people. Because 30,000, that's a lot of votes that can change a government, a presidential race easily. Because there is no way you can beat Trump head to head. You must play dirty. That's the only way you win. They know it. That is why they are keeping Kamala Harris in the basement the same way they did with Biden. Because these two people here, there's nothing there. How do you allow such leaders? How does CNN, knowing that these people's IQ is of children, but you defend them? So that's what's gonna happen these elections. They can do anything, but you people must vote on IQ and what someone has. What's the propaganda? What are the principles? What are the policies the person has? Ask Democrats, those who are voting for Kamala, what policies are good that Kamala has? Nothing. They will tell you nothing because they know nothing. Because even Kamala has said nothing. What policies are? Apart from that one she copied from Trump about cutting tax on tips. See that? So people, there it is. You saw, I presented. Yes, the video might have been long, but at least it gives you the craziness what's going on in USA. So what are you going to do? Are you going to continue being fooled, or you will wake up? I mean, first, even the other video, she calls young people, they call Gen Zs that they are dumb. And then now she expects them to vote for her. Yes, they will. Because when you checked on the street, some of them, they said they don't even know that she was vice president. They asked, who is the vice president? Some don't even know. I mean, even schools, what do they teach in schools? This is crazy. This is crazy. So people, that's it. Please subscribe. I'll keep bringing crazy stuff like this. So click on that bell, subscribe, and goodbye.